honest, the thing that I tend to be criticised the most about is that my advocacy of use of drugs. The way I look at it is that we're in the European community. If you go to Portugal, all drugs are legal. Well, they're not legal, they're decriminalised. They just go after the pushers and the traffickers. And that frees up police time to deal with rapists and paedophiles. What I'm trying to do is say to the government and say to people that in your parents' generation, what they would have done is go to work 9 to 5:30 and go down the pub each night and get pissed. This is 40 years on. People now go to work 9 to 5 and go and do an ecstasy pill, don't go and do cocaine and get up in the morning. I believe there's lots of people in this country that regulate their drug habit and go to work each day. And in places like Portugal, where all drugs are decriminalised, you don't see the whole of Portugal on smack. So what I'm trying to say is that it needs some idea of self-regulation and self-preservation, really. And it shouldn't be down to the state to ban intoxicants. It should be down to the individual's idea of identity and independence to be able to regulate their habit and still be structured and focused. And you could also channel lots more money into rehabilitation centres as well, instead of putting all the money to fighting drugs. That's just me.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously fit well by your opinions and
yeah, it certainly makes me a bit radical.
Well, yeah, I mean, definitely, and a lot of people have the same opinions and have had the same
I'd say there's
opinions.
probably about 5 million people out of our population would probably be within my grasp.
Do you think the world's a difficult place to live in at the moment?
Or I should say, I live in Aldgate East and we just got bombed.
Yeah, that's exactly
Luckily I was in Switzerland. My boyfriend was on a bus, so we're both still alive. And to be honest with you, when it's that close, when your local tube station gets bombed, Aldgate East, and the next local tube station, Liverpool Street, gets bombed, yeah, the world is starting to turn into a more difficult place. But you know, I've been in London 9 years and we got bombed by the IRA for years, and at the same time I lived on Brick Lane when there was a nail bomber. So I've seen it from all different sides.
Yeah. A couple of people I talked to said, you know, that actually it's just making, it's not so radical, it's just making people more vigilant, because when the IRA gave it a rest, people started to kind of get
I think the IRA were always certainly a lot more caring, because they would give a pre-warning. So an hour before that bomb went off, they would give a warning to clear everybody out of the area. And there were times when they did mortar attacks where they didn't give warnings, but most of the time they were pretty good in the public. But generally, with the threat that we've got now, the fact that they'll blow themselves up, we're now in a total different world where the terrorist is willing to kill himself to actually maim targets. Is all I can think of at the moment really is the fact that what the British Muslim Council said, that they believe that there are good Muslims out there, but that these extremists are giving them a bad name. I'd go along with that. It's just extremists giving the everyday Muslims in the UK a bad name. It was funny the other night is that there was a backlash against what had happened, and some people in the southeast of London went and firebombed a Sikh temple, not a Muslim temple, a Sikh temple.
Did they get confused?
Well, it just shows you the level of ignorance in this country.
Yes. Yeah.
Crazy.
It's madness.
Went firebombed a Sikh temple. Sikhs haven't even got anything to do with this at all. Not their fault. They're not even in the... Well, they haven't got anything to do with that at all, but I'd say the far extremist groups of Islamic fundamentalism, which does read some Muslim books, obviously. So there is a certain connection. It'd be like saying extremist Christians.
But it is a direct backlash based on, I mean, it's completely unforgivable and yeah, definitely extremist.
Well, the BNP
but it
in this
is,
country.
yeah,
It's
like the BNP.
total
Exactly.
extremism of conservatism. I'm not saying that all conservatives in this country are that right wing that they want all multicultural society eradicated. The far right wing extremes, the BNP in this country, or Le Pen in France, for instance, who got 15% of the presidential vote in France, they're right wing and against immigration. So, you know, it happens in all churches, whether it's Muslim religion or conservative politics, there's always extremes.
But, you know, we as the West have been, you know, sort of irritating the situation, let's say, with
I think the invasion of Iraq possibly wound a few people up. At the same time, an invasion of culture, the fact that there's a war over oil as well. It seemed to be a poor excuse for a war. And at the same time, the fact that Bin Laden and Al-Qaeda, the network, is so secretive that it hasn't been called, sort of limits what Britain can do in retaliation. You're not fighting a superpower here like back in the old days of war, of the Cold War
it's
against
not
the
like we
USSR.
have declared war,
Yeah,
it's like...
this is a far more secretive society, so this could go on for many years.
It can and it probably will.
Possibly.
Yeah.
But also you could even turn it on its head and say the George Orwell theory of every good government needs an enemy. Not saying anything else.
Yeah, the 1984.
Or lots of bombings in 1984 by terrorist groups, but those terrorist groups in the end were found out to be the government. Now that is really turning it on its head, but I wouldn't think it's that. Every good government needs an enemy.